What's the first thing that springs to mind when I say mindset?
If you want to know what your mindset is, just look at your results, your outcomes.
Let's talk about this topic. Limiting beliefs.
I have clients who come to me and they're like, I want to identify all my limiting beliefs. Let's start with the limiting belief that you think you have limiting beliefs.
Well, you're the mindset guru, so let's just open it up for a second.
Yeah.
Because you hear this winning mindset, strong mindset. What's the first thing that springs to mind when I say mindset?
To me, it's mind. And most people don't pay enough attention to their thoughts, their beliefs, and how that's creating their reality. And so when I think of mindset, I think of, how is your mindset? What does that look like? And if you want to know what your mindset is, just look at your action, just look at your results, your outcomes. Because whatever is presenting itself in the outer world is already happening on the inner world.
Quite dramatic, that, isn't it? If you want to know what your mindset is, just look at your results, because that's a reflection of your mindset.
That's
what
right.
you're saying. All right, so let's talk about this topic. All right, it's a
Yeah.
big one, probably misunderstood. Limiting beliefs. You heard of that? So, what are they?
So a limiting belief is a belief that you have, a story that you've told yourself over time, or perhaps a story that was told to you that then you've taken on as your own. And it's something you keep repeating in your head that's holding you back. It's limiting you from taking the action that you need to take to create the results that you want. The biggest limiting belief of all limiting beliefs, because I have clients who come to me and they're like, I want to identify all my limiting beliefs. It's like, let's start with the limiting belief that you think you have limiting beliefs, right? A lot of people call things limiting beliefs that actually aren't, and they're in forever search of finding all your limiting beliefs.
Is that the biggest? So the biggest limiting belief is the fact that I think that I've got loads of limiting beliefs,
or that you're letting the thought that you have limiting beliefs hold you back.
Is this self-sabotage?
Yeah, it can be. It can be.
You see, sometimes when I'm a little bit cheeky with that phrase, sometimes I do a presentation and I say, COVID was a global pandemic, yeah? Well, there's two pandemics that are much bigger than that. And the biggest one is self-sabotage.
That's good.
Well, I mean, imagine if people didn't sabotage themselves and how far we'd move forward in the world, but there you go. Limiting beliefs, where did they start?
Growing up, you learned things. And usually you learn things, and if you have kids, your kids are learning things by seeing you do things. Not by what you tell them, but by what you do. So if you say, money doesn't grow on trees, and I don't know if that's a phrase you guys use here, but it's a phrase that we use in America.
Yeah, it's used here.
Okay. So that's a story that you keep hearing over and over and over again, and then you make a belief based on that story. So the belief could be you have to work really hard to make a lot of money, or making money is difficult, or who knows what, right? You make up these stories, and then we collect evidence over time. So what do I mean by that? You go and do something, and you don't make the amount of money that you want, or you realize they take out so much money in taxes, and so now it's like really, it becomes harder to make the money you want. That's evidence. And you keep seeing that evidence, and it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah. And then now you're telling yourself that when you go to take the right action. But to couple with that, so that's a story that we heard and then told ourselves.
Is that a form of self-protection as well? Is it like, that's all right because it happened like that? Is it part of making excuses?
Oh yeah, this is all making excuses. But a lot of times people don't realize they're making that excuse. And they have to be, they need someone to point out that, to mirror for them the thoughts that they're having in their head that they're saying out loud, so that once they see them, they can't unsee them, right? Then they begin to see them through a new lens, and now you can do something about it. But often I think they don't even realize they're making excuses.
Right, so having someone external to sort of hold the mirror up, like a coach or maybe a husband, wife, life partner type thing. They're not short of telling you your own flaws from time to time. Is that what you have to do to start to even identify your limiting beliefs? Does you need an external to come in?
So you can start on your own. You can start by journaling, writing down what your actual thoughts are, and then being reflective and looking at, okay, what am I saying? What am I saying to myself? What are those thoughts that I'm having that might be holding me back? And then when you figure that out, then you can start to work on it. But this is deep inner work, and your business is going to grow in proportion to the more personal development you do for yourself, the more you grow on the inside. And so in my experience, it's always better to have someone guiding you through that.
There's lots of apps now, isn't there, for reflections and meditations and all that kind of stuff. So I think more and more people are beginning to do it. But what are your thoughts around the good old sort of pen and paper, writing your thoughts down, and actually the process of journaling? And
I think journaling is really powerful, but it's analyzing. Most people don't go back and actually analyze what they've journaled. They just get it out and they're like, okay, cool, I got it out, now what? Well, it's about actually turning backwards in your journal and looking at what you wrote down and being in the right state to do something about it. And by state, I mean, like, how calm are you? Where is your breath? Are you anxious and in fight or flight because you're not making enough money? And so now you're like, oh, I'm not making enough money. Money's really hard to come by. Money doesn't grow on trees. And you're writing down all your thoughts and you're like, well, I don't know.
Is there a risk then that, because we want this, ideally, if I'm writing my thoughts down, I want it to turn to motivation. Is there a risk that this can turn to depression?
There is a risk. And
I can't say I can't compute that personally.
What do you mean?
I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of what you're saying here, and as I would self-reflect, I'd want to do something about it, like take action. Right. But do some people? Does it make them even worse?
Well, it makes them even worse to keep it inside their mind. Because a thought inside your head is infinite. It keeps on looping and going and going. It's like a broken record. But a thought that's on paper is now finite because you've taken that thought out of your head. It can't loop anymore, and now you've taken the story down. So it's actually helpful. Yeah, exactly.
It's less emotional, totally logical. We can look at it, probably be a bit more objective about it.
100%, yes.
Is that one of the first things that you get people to do?
Yeah. So one of the first things I get them to do is to breathe. Because most of the time our breath is caught in our chest. And when it's high and tight, you're in flight. When it's low and slow into your belly, you're in flow. You really sort of making me self-conscious about my posture, all this kind of stuff right now. No, it's just a matter of where is your breath, right? If you're going to do something that isn't something you do every day and it creates some anxiety, the first thing you need to check if you want to calm your body down is your breath. Which
is, again, back to the state that you're in. Control the state. You can control the situation.
Exactly.
Limiting beliefs. How much do they hold people back?
A ton.
Everyone.
Every single person, yes.
Has got them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, even one of my coaches who has a $10 to $15 million business, he has them, right? And he'll tell us, like, I had this limiting belief about blah, 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 and he's still finding them.
The key is awareness then. The key is like acceptance. It's like, I'm just not a superhero.
Right. And the key is not to search for them all the time, but once you've gotten the main ones that you know are holding you back, is to just live. Take action. Action creates clarity. So take action, and then as you're taking action, something's going to come up and you can be more reflective because now you have the breath under control and you're doing things like journaling and getting your thoughts out on paper. Now it's like, oh, that was holding me back from making sales.
Yeah, you're making me think about emotional intelligence, basically, because the first thing in emotional intelligence is just self-awareness, And the process of writing things down, getting them out, makes you self-aware.
So this is a really cool thing. The word abracadabra.
Abracadabra.
Abracadabra, right? You can't do it without the like.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Abracadabra means, it's an ancient Aramaic word, and it actually means, with my word, I create. So that is magic. With my word, I create. So the language that we talk to ourselves, the things that we say to ourselves are what we are creating into reality. And so you are creating magic every single day. If it's magic, if you don't like the outcome, it's magic you don't want, right? So now we go back to the words. What are we saying? So I'm going to talk about this at BizX, but one of the things is like, how can I ever make that sale? Well, tell me that.
How can I make that sale?
How can I ever make that sale?
Being on top form.
No, you say it. How
Okay.
can I ever make that sale?
How can I ever make that sale?
How does that feel?
I tried to say it really positively, and I kind of understood the words afterwards. He wasn't top.
It wasn't top?
Nah.
No, that's a phrase you guys have here, huh?
Well, no, it's not really a phrase. It didn't really make sense neither. Yeah, no, it didn't feel good.
Okay. And you likely won't make the sale if you go into it feeling that way, right? Now I want you to delete one word from that sentence and just, how can I make that sale? We're going to take out the word ever.
How can I make that sale?
Now what?
Definitely more positive.
Yeah. See, you automatically did that because you're
But
coming from it from a positive.
But as soon as you said delete the word ever, I could feel the emotion.
Yeah, it takes the emotion out, it takes the drama out, and it takes the story out.
It reminds me of Carol Dweck. She wrote the book Mindset, growth mindset. And I can't do that. The classic child speaking to parent type thing. Mm-hmm. And she just gets you to put one word on the end, yet. Mm-hmm. Which again is self-empowerment. So you delete the word ever, and you feel a bit more empowered.
Oh, 100%. So now instead of your brain saying, I'm not going to make the sale. How can I ever make the sale? I'm just not going to make it. Your brain is going to, how can I make it? Let me think about, what do I need to do? What are the strategies? It takes the drama out, and now you're thinking strategically. What are the strategies I need in order to make the sale?
Well, both of them examples that you've given, the process of writing it down takes you said drama out there. I'm just going to just put emotion.
Yep.
It takes the emotion out, and it focuses on objectivity and logic behind it. So how can I make this sale? Mm-hmm. Well, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. Yeah. Is that what we want to get to?
Yes.
Logic overcoming emotion.
So you want to be able to create emotion, but it's created, right, by uncovering what the person wants and where the emotional factors are. But going into it with your own emotion, especially if it's negative, isn't going to produce the results that you want. Ever get in a fight with someone and you're fighting, you're arguing, and then you cool down, you walk away, and 5 minutes later you think, I wish I had said that. Yeah. Well, you didn't say that in the moment because your body, your mind, everything is so tense, right? So if our mindset is in a tense place, that fight or flight, then it's really hard to be creative. It's really hard to push through. So if you're going into a sales opportunity and you're like, how can I ever make that sale? And you're all stressed out, or maybe the thought is, how am I ever going to pay my bills? My business needs to make more money, or I'm going to have to shut it down and go back and get a full-time job. And, the threat of going back to corporate, all the things. And if those are the thoughts that are going through your mind, then you're not making really good decisions to drive your business to where you want it to be.
So how important is composure then? Because this is what you're making me think here. Being calm, being calculated, being deliberate. How important is that in developing a winning mindset?
So people don't talk about this. When you go to a sales training, they don't say, what are you doing today to balance your body and your mind? What are you doing today to set the right tone for your body? They don't talk about it, and it's so important. It's so freaking important. I do cold plunges. Jeffrey, my husband, thinks I'm nuts. Have you done them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Love it.
They're awesome, right? And what does it get you to do? It gets you to regulate your breath. So it's a really great practice.
I like the feel
breathing.
on the skin.
Well, I like it too,
Love it.
but you have to get used to it, right? You probably didn't like it the very first time. It was a little cold, I would imagine. And so what are some of? I mean, I do lots of things like sauna, cold plunge, meditations. I have a mat that I lay on that creates an alpha state so that it pulses, PMF pulsation, to get you into a relaxed state. So there's all these tools that exist.
Why do you do all that?
Because I know the more calm my body is, the more creative I'm going to be, the better I'm going to be able to go into situations and create the outcomes that I want.
How connected is the mind to the body?
100%. It's totally connected.
The more calmer your body is, the calmer your mind.
Yeah. They say the body that book, The Body Keeps the Score? Yeah. So it's like if you have an ailment and you're like, oh, why do I keep getting these headaches? Well, something is giving you headaches, right? And it may be something in your environment. It may be some food you're eating. And it may also be something going on in your mind.
We change the question there. Why do we keep getting those headaches? How can I find out what's giving me these headaches?
Right. How can I cure these headaches, right? Like how can I heal them? And so that's right. The questions you ask yourself are so important.
Which brings us back down to that journaling part that you talked about earlier on. So composure and calmness is clearly important in developing a strong mindset. What else is important?
Being aware when your mindset isn't in the right place so that you can reset it. So I'll give you an example. I was in New York City and the prospective client I was going to visit gave me the wrong address. And it was the middle of the winter. It was freezing cold. I'm in my winter jacket. I'm in my sneakers because you walk in New York in your sneakers, you carry your heels. This was almost 10 years ago. So I had a big projector. It was heavy. And I'm carrying a whole bunch of stuff so I can make my presentation.
Like that,
exactly. Now you can plug into the TV. It's so easy. You need a cord. Okay, so I'm carrying a whole bunch of stuff. It's freezing cold. There's snow on the ground. And I am sweating because the address, I think it was 23, did not exist. There was a 21, there was a 25. And I'm looking, I'm going to the deli. Where's 23? They're like, it's a parking lot. There's no building there. I go into the hotel. They're like, no. So I can't call my prospective client because she's on a plane to Los Angeles, which from New York to LA is 5 hours. I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? I'm freaking out. I thought I was going to be 20 minutes early. Now I'm going to be late. Some thought occurs in my mind. What if she inverted the numbers? And what if instead of 23 it was 32? I have nothing to lose, right? I just have stuff to gain, so let's go try it. So I walk to the opposite, the inversion. I go to the doorman. It was like a residential building. By any chance, does this meeting meet here on the 5th floor? And he was like, yeah. Oh.
How did that come to you then?
That was a God moment. That was universe, God, whatever you believe in. I don't
know about that.
That was.
You worked it out.
Crazy, right? So, but now I'm all pissed off. I'm all angry. I'm sweating, and I'm embarrassed that I'm going to be late for a meeting where I'm the presenter trying to sell all these people on something. And I'm quite frankly, I'm horrified because I was supposed to be early and now I'm late, and I can't say, well, your colleague gave me the wrong address, right? So I have about 10 seconds riding up in the elevator, and as I push the button on the elevator, I, in my mind, was pushing a reset button. Because I knew if I went in there all pissed off and all upset, I wouldn't get the sale. And I walked in there, I walked in there as if everything was great. I ran to the ladies' room, which, ladies do, and I knocked the presentation out of the park. I mean, it was amazing. And not only do I still talk to some of the people today that were that became clients, but some of them are really close friends to this day, and that's the day I met them. Now, if I had walked in all pissed off, you gave me the wrong address, and my mind was in the wrong place, there's no way I would have move forward with anything, right? And things happen. On the way to work, you hit traffic. The tube is full. There's too many people trying to cram in one train. Like there's stuff that happens, and we all got to deal with it and hit that reset button. And so for me, I played music. That was my little secret. 10 seconds of like,
there, then. Yeah. So there's, as soon as you said, when you press the button on the elevator, you were pressing the reset button. I could kind of feel it,
right?
Yeah, that's an NLP technique, really, isn't it? I mean, look, reset. It's a physical act to a mental decision.
Yeah.
And then the second is music.
Yeah. Yeah, I needed extra help, right? I needed an external tool
music
to get me
control,
like pumped
just
up.
Get the emotions flowing, doesn't it?
Exactly.
So you use music for you there.
I'm sure the people, the doormen watching on the video in the elevator, like seeing me dance it out and like shake my body, I'm sure they thought it was nuts.
Well, the example that you gave is a really good example because it's actually quite a normal example. The world is constantly throwing us challenges, problems. It's not smooth.
Right.
And that was an example of you controlling the situation rather than the situation controlling you. And that, unfortunately, is what can happen to all of us from time to time, where the situation gets on top of us, our state changes.
Yeah.
And we perform well.
Right. It happens all the time. And so we get to now notice and become aware of it. Once you start to study this and really get good at it, you become more aware of it more quickly. And to me, that's the difference between a new entrepreneur and a 6 or 7 figure entrepreneur is the 7 figure entrepreneur has figured out how to control their state and react and respond to these situations in a quicker fashion.
It's like athletes, like performing football matches, etc.
Yes.
Like they're 1-0 down, right? Bam, change.
Yes.
And some people have got it, some people haven't got it. Where are you with the, if you've not got this calmness, composure, and the ability to change the state, where are you with that you can learn it?
Oh, everyone can learn it. I really believe.
What's the hardest thing to learn in that?
Accepting when someone tells you that you need to learn it. And if you're like, well, I don't need this, you probably need this, right? Or I've already got it. Unless you're paying attention to it and actually practicing it. If you think you just woke up as someone who has this, it's unlikely. I mean, dogs have it. You know when a dog does the little shake off like...
Well, you're a dog lover, yeah? You've got two dogs yourself.
Exactly. But you know when they go like that?
Yeah.
Okay, they do that after an anxiety-creating event. So another dog comes close to them that they don't like, they walk away and they shake it off. Maybe they see something that my dog does it after she sees birds because she wants to go for the bird. She can't get it. She's like, oh, I thought I was going to have bird soup. And I'm holding her back and then shake off. Okay. Why don't we shake off as adults, right? We keep that energy stuck inside our body. And as kids, we're told, like, kids having a temper tantrum is actually a good thing. Now, if you're out in public and your kid is having a temper tantrum, you're telling them to, like, calm down, be quiet, stop. But really what they're doing is they're trying to get the anxiety out of their body. And so we are, as parents, when we tell them, like, don't do that, we're not giving them a tool of what to do.
Do the opposite.
We need to give them a way to get that frustration out, right? So, shake your
Start
hands, go like this, shake it off, get it out of your body. I recognize that there's something upsetting you. It's in there, let's get it out. Show them like a more controlled way to get it out, and then boom.
It's quite creative. I'm going to try that with the twins when I get
You should
home.
try that. Yeah. I do it on the tennis courts.
Yeah.
I've taught it to my team. Like, I do like a bad serve or whatever, and instead of, just going right into the next serve, I turn around, I go like this, I take a deep breath, and then I go, okay, and I,
Reflect.
Yeah, then I picture myself acing them, and then I do it. Then I do the next serve.
Visualization then as well.
Yeah.
You visualize.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So when I learned the power of visualization, I was terrible at it. I was like, what is this? You just close your eyes and picture things happening? Like, I'm woo, and that's a little too woo. Like, it's just going to happen. And then when I was writing my book, Sales in a New York Minute, every single day, I would visualize myself turning in the manuscript to my publisher. And I would visualize an email with the attachment and the letter that I was going to send him when it was complete. Like, Dear Dave, attached is my book, Sales in a New York Minute. Thanks for taking me on as a first-time author, blah, blah, whatever the words are. And I when it came time to submit that, I knew exactly what I was going to say because I visualized it every day.
Was it always that visualization?
Always. To me, that was when the book was complete, was when I sent it to the publisher. And now, knowing what I know, I would also have visualized selling, 10,000 copies or hitting different bestseller lists or whatever it may be, right? That would help me with my outcome. But I didn't understand visualization, and I thought it was just...
Is it always the outcome you visualize?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, or the celebration of the outcome.
What's your best celebration?
Going to Paris with Jeffrey and celebrating there.
Nice food.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice ambiance.
Shopping.
Yes. What do you like to buy?
Clothing and handbags. Oh, and jewelry.
How many handbags have you got?
Too many.
I've seen your art gallery. How many pictures have you got?
More art than handbags.
So pictures win.
Well, Jeffrey started collecting pictures before I started collecting handbags. I hope that one day my handbag collection
Jeffrey
will
collects
win.
books.
He collects both. He collects art and
Yeah,
books.
he does.
Books, yeah.
He does indeed.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about environment then.
Yes.
How do you control your environment? And what impact does this have on success?
Yeah, so this is interesting. When we were in New York City, I joined a co-working space. And it wasn't just the normal co-working space that most people know about.
There's quite a lot of them now.
There's a lot, yeah. But this one was called Primary.
Right.
And they said something along the lines of, the better your environment, the better work you create. And that was the whole premise of this space. They had a yoga studio, they had a healthy smoothie bar, a matcha bar, and they would come every day and knock on your office door at 3:00 and see if you wanted to join for meditation. And and I don't know of any other co-working space like this, right? They had a wall just full of real green plants, like real plants, all on the wall with a filtered watering system. And so I tell you all this because I really think your environment matters. If your desk is cluttered, your mind is cluttered, right? Like the same thing that I said at the beginning.
I wouldn't say that to someone,
What's that?
A lawyer. I once said that to a lawyer, and he says, "Well, what if your desk's empty?" That's what he said. It's like, it's quite a good point, really. I thought it's like, all right, well, is this getting the best out of you? That's what I resorted to.
So, if your desktop is empty, in my opinion, you've created space to create what you want.
The law of the vacuum.
Right. Exactly where I'm going. And if you don't have the space for the thoughts or the ideas or the creativity because of the clutter,
Yep.
then you've ruined your environment to work in. And so that's why people say they like go into coffee shops, because they're going to a blank desk. They're going to a blank space.
Yeah, and it's different, isn't it? It's a different surrounding. It's like, I've met people that have got two desks.
Yeah.
They've got a desk where they do their emails and a desk where they go do the creativity or
Yes.
the writing, or a chair that they go and do the journaling in.
Yeah.
That's all they do in that chair.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is that part of your environment, having separate things
For me, yes. I like to be very specific about where I do my work versus where I do my creative work versus I have a couch. I call it my meditation couch because
you lie on it?
I lay on it, yes, and I meditate and I write on it.
Something about that, isn't there, when you're lying down? Because like you see on the movies, when people go to therapy and they lie down and they get asked the questions. But there's something about that whole sort of lying down whilst you're getting into that relaxation position.
Yeah, you're getting into alpha state. You're taking the.
Is that right? You're getting into alpha state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We don't live in alpha state, but you can relax your body enough to get into that state. It's scientific. This is not just like me telling you like get relaxed.
Are you in alpha state now?
I'm in a flow state for sure, but maybe because you can do something
Right.
to you can train your mind to go into alpha state.
Have you
I
ever
would
had
hope
a
I am.
terrible environment where it's been working adverse on you?
I'm sure I have. Okay, so when I worked in corporate for 6.5 years, my last year there, I hated it.
Tell us about that environment.
So-
What was going on?
I would take the train from Manhattan to Brooklyn, and you probably don't know this, but when you take the train to Manhattan, it's usually like 2 minutes a stop, except if you're crossing the river. So when you're crossing the river,
I
it's
do
like,
know that. I was in New York last year.
okay, if you're crossing the river from Manhattan to Brooklyn, it's like 5 to 7 minutes of pitch black tunnel. Like you don't see anything. It's just, okay. So I would go through the tunnel every morning. I would get out on the other side, and at 8 a.m., I would call my mom, and I would say, I've arrived to hell. That's how I started her day, not just my day, every day for almost a year. And I stayed.
That's like a limiting belief, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I was self-perpetuating, for sure. And
Visualizing.
I was visualizing hell. I hadn't even arrived into my office yet, and I just by crossing that tunnel, I was like, oh, I've gone to hell. I'm there. Like getting onto the other side of where my office was, like, and I'm sure I created some of that. And we grew from 150 people to 1,500 people. So the work dynamic changed, the bureaucracy changed. We sold to a Fortune 100 company. It was very different than when I started. And I'm grateful for the experience.
How did you get out of it?
So I quit.
It took a year.
It took a year because I had my mom in my head saying, you can't leave that job. It's so high paying. Where are you going to make money like that? And me saying, I want to start my own business. This was 10 years ago. I want to start my own business. And not having enough belief in myself to actually go start my own business.
How did the belief creep up then? What changed for you to make that decision and not take the action of doing it?
Yeah. So the idea came to me of what I wanted to do. I was really good at helping salespeople. I had one of the top performing teams at the company, and I was given more and more responsibility. And just one day I was like, all these other voices of what everyone else is saying doesn't matter because they don't have to wake up and live my life. I'm waking up and living my life, and so I get to decide, right? You're the only person living your life. You get to decide how you're going to live it and what decisions you're going to make. And the belief just kicked in. And I think I got so frustrated with the stuff going on in my job that it was just, I'm going to do this. And I chickened out. So I quit. And then instead of starting my own business, I took another job because I was a total chicken. And I was at that job for 2 months. The boss did things that I would never do. We differed in our definition of ethics. I have them, he didn't. And for example, we made all this money. I don't have them on my LinkedIn or no one knows the company, but we made all this money, and I know because I was in charge of sales and operations. And he told me to call everyone and tell them we didn't have money to pay them. I'm like, huh? I'm like, where'd the money go? Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Oh, I took it. It was profit. That's not profit. That's not how it works. And I didn't feel comfortable calling people who did their work to say, hey, we can't pay you. It didn't jive with me. And I thought, I'd be a way better boss. I can do this. And so seeing how someone else ran their small business firsthand and knowing how I would run mine finally gave me the confidence that I needed to go do it.
So you got the confidence to do it now. So you made the decision, and how did it happen?
So I gave my notice. I walked in, gave my notice, quit, and that was the Monday after Thanksgiving. And then that Tuesday, I incorporated my business and just moved forward and took massive action.
What do you mean massive action?
I did everything I could to begin making sales because the lifeblood of a business is sales, right? Is revenue. And so you don't have a business unless you're creating sales. And so I upped my networking game. I started going to networking meetings every single morning. 5 days a week. And some meetings I was meeting 15 people, some I was meeting 150 people. Not, I didn't talk to everyone in the room, but making connections, following up, having one-to-ones, networking to see, because this was 10 years ago, so the internet social media wasn't as big, and I grew my entire business on referrals and networking.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about big thing then.
Okay.
People talk about this in sort of mindset a lot. Number one, habits. There's going to be a number two. We're going to come to that in a second. Habits. What are they? How do you create them?
Okay. I have a trick to habits. If you want to create a new habit, because everyone wants to create this new habit. I want to start meditating, or I want to start getting into my relaxed state, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But then they don't do it. Take a habit you're already doing, like brushing your teeth.
Yep.
You wake up and you brush your teeth every morning, right? And habits stack them.
Yep.
So after you brush your teeth, you're going to go do the new thing that you want to do. If you want to write a book, and you want to write for 15 minutes a day, but you're not finding the time to do it right after you do the thing you're already doing, right? And then you can begin, after you form the habit, now you can habit stack on that and that and that. And the consistency of it is what's going to drive.
Got it.
Yeah.
So find something that you're already doing, whether it's going and having a cup of tea in the morning or a cup of coffee in the morning.
Yep.
You know that's a habit. It's happening at that time. Then do it after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of that habit stacking before. And then something after that and something after that.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Just pile them up.
Yeah. Yeah, so I noticed the benefits of drinking cacao, ceremonial grade cacao, which comes from Peru. It's direct from the bean. They don't process it. So it's not like chocolate that has been processed and whatever. It's a little different. And the benefits of it is it makes you more alert. It creates, helps you create focus. It opens up your heart for, creative energy, all of that. Okay. So I wanted to start drinking it every day. So it's the very first thing now that I do in the morning. So after I brush my teeth and get ready, I make a cup of cacao. And when I'm sitting with my cacao, which has now become a habit, I'm writing out what I'm grateful for. I'm writing out what I'm excited to do today. And language matters, right? So most people have a to-do list. Never have a to-do list again. Have a get-to-do list. When you have a to-do list, the word have to do is implied. Should do, have to do, must do.
What are you saying? Get to do?
Yeah, you get to do it. These are opportunities that you
I
get to do it. And yeah, so
yes.
Add in the word get, I get to do these things.
I heard from another great actually, turn the to-do list into a to achieve list. This is the outcome of what, sales meeting at 10 on someone's to-do list versus have an amazing meeting with John, make him feel amazing, and get the deal sealed.
So here's part of the reframe why I like get to more than achieve.
Yeah.
On my to-do list today is to call the phone company. Calling the phone company is annoying.
Yeah.
Right? You have to hold. Then you usually talk to someone whose first language is not yours. And there's, it's just frustrating and you have to go back and forth. Okay. But when you get to do it, then it actually makes you think about why. Okay, well, I'm fortunate enough to have a phone plan. And I'm grateful now that I have a phone plan that I get to be able to call my company and fix the issue that's going on. Right? It changes. I think it creates gratitude sometimes for things that you normally wouldn't have gratitude for.
Does it ever create resentment or like a sarcastic feeling like today I get to make 20 phone calls?
Well, if that's your feeling about it.
Exactly. But does that happen? Does that happen? Is that reality?
It can happen, but if you're catching yourself doing that, then you might not be in the right job, right? Exactly. Go have a word with yourself. If you're so unhappy doing the things that are going to help you create success, then why are you doing those things? Why are you in this position? You get to wake up and do what you love every single day. You get to. You don't have to. You get to. Right? So if you hate doing what you're doing, then maybe you're in the wrong role.
It's really powerful what you just said. If you're so unhappy in doing what you've got to do to create success, well,
it's not the right fit.
That you see that was a reality check. You're candor there, but it's just reality. It's like, come on, this is what you get to do.
Right.
Does sometimes people need to fall back in love with that?
Sometimes. I'm trying to think of an example, but I think once you become so disenfranchised, then it's also worth looking at, do I need to, or not do I need to, because need is pressure language, but can I fall back in love with what I was doing, or is there something better for me in the future? And you get to ask yourself that, right? You get to journal on that and ask yourself that and figure that out. But if you hate Mondays, like Sunday night, you have that feeling of like, oh, tomorrow's Monday. Like, oh man, I have to go back to work tomorrow. It's pretty obvious that you're not doing the thing that is meant for you.
How important are routines?
Routines are okay. You know how kids need structure? They thrive off of structure, right? Yeah. So growing up, we were thriving off of structure.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? So why do we think as adults we no longer need structure? Like, oh, I get to do something different every day. That's great, but how are you creating a structure and routine around it so that you're actually moving it forward, right? Like, if you're in a different place every single day, it's actually not great for you, right? The part of the reason why I love waking up at the beach, because we have a place at the beach, is I have my routine. I wake up.
How often do you go to the beach?
As often as possible.
Every month?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I spend about 80% of my time there.
Playing tennis?
Uh-huh. Not 80% of my time playing tennis, but 80% of my time at the beach. But part of the reason I love it is because I know, okay, on Mondays I have a lesson with my coach. On Tuesdays I have our match. On Wednesdays I have another lesson with my coach. And I wake up and this is the first thing I do after my cacao before I go get to work.
And gratitude. And
and all those things, right? Setting my day up for success. And it often means I'm working a little bit later in the day because in the morning I'm taking care of me.
Yep.
But I have those routines set for me, and it creates quantum leaps when you have a routine for yourself. It's that simple.
It creates quantum leaps when you have a routine for yourself. You heard it here today, folks.
That's right.
Right. Got some quick fire questions for you.
Okay, let's do it. I'm so ready. Quick fire.
What's your favorite book you've ever read?
It's by Elmer Letterman, The Personal Power of Creativity.
Why?
It's an old book. Most people have not heard of it.
Right.
And Jeffrey introduced me to the author, Elmer Letterman. Anything he writes is amazing. And it's
Is it because you've met him?
Oh, no, he's dead. I have not. It's like
How old is it?
Maybe the 20. I don't know.
Okay.
It's like
Got
really
it.
old. It's old. But it's still relevant.
Yeah.
And it's so good. And you read it and you're like, how did he know this back then?
Yeah, some of the best books, man. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite movie?
I don't have one.
Come on.
I only like comedies or rom-coms.
Right. Favorite comedy?
I don't remember movie names. I fall asleep during every movie.
Yeah, give us your favorite movie quote.
I don't have one. I really don't know.
Favorite rom-com?
I don't. I'm not.
Why do you like rom-coms?
I want to watch something that's happy and lifts me up. You know, I don't want to watch something that's scary and I'm going to have nightmares, right? Like, I'm trying to keep my state positive, so.
How often do you watch rom-coms? When you get back to New York.
Year.
No, when you get back to New York, you've got to make Jeffrey Gitomer watch 3 rom-coms on
Oh,
the weekend.
boy.
You're having a movie weekend. All right, and you're going to tell me the name of the ones you choose.
I'll tell you the name when
What's your favorite music?
I love affirmational, uplifting music. It sounds so corny, and I know this is supposed to be rapid fire, but the things you listen to affect the things you say to yourself. And if you listen to the music that's going on right now for these young kids, like, it's terrible. Listen to the words, and that's the words they have on repeat in their heads. So I listen to Beautiful Chorus and all these different, very soothing.
Got it. Love it. Favorite holiday destination?
Ooh, okay. I have 2, and they tie: Paris and Aruba. So I've been going to Paris every year since I was 12 years old, and I French family, love it. And Aruba is, the beach.
And you love the beach.
And it's guaranteed. Aruba's guaranteed good weather. It's sunny every day.
What annoys you the most in life?
So I was listening to your podcast with Jeffrey, and it's idiots. I hate stupid people. It's the same thing. When people don't think, it pisses me off.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is your morning routine?
Wake up, drink cacao, gratitude list, get to-do list, and read, tennis, work.
What time do you start work?
About 9:30.
All that before 9:30. Beautiful. Love. Are you an early riser or?
I'm usually up
night
around
owl?
5.
All right.
Yeah, like naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could have one day in someone else's body in their life, who would you choose?
Okay, so this is a toss-up between Steve Jobs, because he was so baller, right? And Sarah Blakely, the creator of Spanx. I love everything she stands for, and well, maybe not everything, but many things that she stands for, and how she built that business, sold that business, how she's family oriented. And she's independent. I just think she's awesome.
And who've been your 3 biggest trusted advisors in your life?
My husband Jeffrey, who you all know.
What have you got from him?
Positivity, yes, attitude. Lots of he's constantly challenging me and reframing thoughts, and pushing sales further and further, and showing me I can do it. Just a lot. My mom, she owned and sold a business, and both my parents were very successful. They printed and manufactured books, and she's great at business, and so it's great to bounce things off of her. And I'd have to go with, she's no longer alive, but my grandma.
What do you get from your grandma?
She taught me how to be a lady, and on her deathbed, she told me to always have nice nails, because ladies always have nice nails. Thank you.
And you've got an aura ring as well.
Oh yeah, you need the aura ring. And she taught me to be kind and to always be happy for other people, like never have any jealousy. Just lots of lessons over time.
Amazing stuff. And if you could speak to the viewers right now and encourage them to take one action from this conversation, what would it be?
Check your mindset. It doesn't matter what the weather is outside. It matters what the weather is inside your head. It matters what's going on in your head at all hours. And here it rains a lot, right? So check your mindset. Check your mindset going into everything that you do, and ask yourself, is this frame of mind going to help me create what I want, or is it going to hurt me? And then you know what you need to do.
If you knew you were going to succeed, categorically, definitely, what would you do?
What I'm doing? I would help more entrepreneurs and female business owners grow their business. And I would start a second business, which I'm doing, to offer tennis tournaments.
Have you started that business?
I'm starting it. It's in the works. I got my costs down. I'm building out the plan right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you're going to do that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What's been your favourite thing that we've discussed today about this conversation?
I've enjoyed the whole conversation. I think this has been a lot of fun. I liked that you, when I said drama, like the mind drama, you brought it back to emotion, which is what it is. And the habits and the routines, I think, get undervalued, and they're way more valuable than people want to pay attention to. So
I loved your simplicity on it all.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.